This broadcast is brought to you by Colby Brooks with Century 21 Right Pace Real Estate and buyfrombrooks.com. Let Colby Brooks handle all of your real estate needs. Thanks for joining us on NEA Report with a lot of news happening today, and tonight especially in relation to the coronavirus. We wanted to do a quick special broadcast summarizing some of the things that have happened today and some of the things that we're looking for going forward. Some local stuff included in this as well, a lot of national stuff, international news for that matter. It's all next. NEA Report begins right now.
Reporting.
A lot of news happening tonight in relation to the coronavirus, so we thought we might try to summarize some of it and maybe give you a quick look at everything that took place today. And so as this continues to be one of those things that from day to day has a ton of breaking news associated with it, we may do more updates like this. First of all, today the World Health Organization declared a pandemic for the coronavirus, COVID-19 or COVID-19. What are we calling that? Chat, maybe you can tell me, because honestly, I don't know. But it's you understand what I'm talking about. The coronavirus that originated in Wuhan, China, but is spreading across the globe, including to the United States, where we've seen, I believe, over 1,000 cases, was one of the headlines today or yesterday. And amongst those cases, the death rate is at least 10 times stronger or higher than the flu. At one point in time, the mortality rate was 5.2%, I believe, for Wuhan, China. It was then down once it spread to other places, other locations. It was dropping to the 3% range. But the flu, the normal influenza, has a 0.1% mortality rate, which means that's the chance you will die if you get it. Yes, it does kill a lot of people, but that's because even more people are affected by it. If the same number of people that were affected by the flu were then infected by coronavirus, deaths would be in the thousands every day. It would be an incredible difference between the two, at least based on the percentages that are out there now. Now, will those percentages continue to drop? Maybe. I mentioned the 1% number, which would be at least 10 times more, because during a congressional hearing, the conservative estimates were that it would be 1%. They said even if it was 1%, it would still be 10 times worse, because it's higher right now. It's around the 3% range. So yes, it may go lower, and that's great news. But until it does, and until there's a vaccine, it's a serious concern, especially for those at risk. We saw announcements from nursing homes across Northeast Arkansas today that said that there would no longer be allowed visitors for the residents unless they were in the acute care stages or end-of-life stages, so to speak. So it's affecting us locally as well, and especially in the elderly population, because those percentages I just mentioned, they go up dramatically when you factor out young, healthy adults. They're already concerning with young, healthy adults. Factor those down, and it's going to go up to 3 or 4 or 5%, potentially. And that's deadly for the elderly who are already weak. And it's just proven there to be a more concern. Now, it's so concerning, in fact, that the NBA suspended season play tonight. This was just a short time after the president suspended travel to Europe. He announced that from this Friday, a 30-day ban of normal travel of foreign nationals from Europe to the United States would take place. I believe there was also a ban if you are going to Europe and you're a United States citizen, but it was a bit unclear during his speech about that. But we do know that if you're a United States citizen and you're overseas, that you're going to be able to come home. I was able to kind of verify that before I wanted to start talking about that subject. So that's good news. But the president announcing several measures tonight that prove, and in his tone as well, show that it is being taken much more seriously than it had been previously by even this administration. This was the press release from the NBA a short time ago, which said that the NBA is suspending season play following tonight's games after a player tested positive for this particular strain. A Utah Jazz player had a preliminarily positive test. We talked about those today because we had one in Arkansas today, a preliminarily test positive for the coronavirus. What that means is the CDC will still make another test and finalize if that is an official case of this coronavirus, but the state agency in charge there had received a positive test. Highly likely that that person does have the disease. The test result was shortly prior to the tip-off to tonight's game between the Jazz and Oklahoma City Thunder at the Chesapeake Energy Arena. At that time, the game was canceled. The affected player, though, not in the arena. The NBA suspending gameplay following the conclusion of tonight's schedule of games until further notice. They're going to use that time to figure out what to do next. The NBA is not the only league faced with questions about what to do next in the wake of the coronavirus pandemic, with the NCAA announcing that they're going to be moving forward with games with no crowds. Can you imagine that visual? That's going to be taking place with the NCAA finishing out March Madness with limited family and staff, only staff and limited family at NCAA tournament games, according to the president, Mark Emmert, who says the Division I basketball games will be played without fans in the arenas because of concerns about the spread of the coronavirus. Also breaking news tonight on Instagram from Tom Hanks confirming he and his wife, Rita Wilson, also a famous actor, that they have the coronavirus. He posted, "Hey folks, Rita and I are down here in Australia. We felt a bit tired, like we had colds and some body aches. Rita had some chills that came and went, slight fevers too. So he said to play things right as is needed in the world right now, they were tested for the coronavirus and were found to be positive. So now what to do next? Well, he said medical officials have protocols that must be followed. He said the Hanks will be tested, observed, and isolated for as long as public health and safety requires. It's a day-to-day, one at a time, he said, one day at a time approach right now. It's because they're going to be in a quarantine. They have to be kept in a pressurized room to keep the virus from getting out. And the hope is that they're going to get better a lot faster, perhaps, but that has to be monitored because, as mentioned, if it is even close to 10 times worse than the flu, it's bad. Because if it is even as bad as the flu, it's bad. If it was just the flu without a vaccine, that would be still concerning. But a lot of people don't get that. We live in the age where everyone is an expert in things that they're not trained in. They do no research, and they're an expert. And you have to kind of recognize that stuff and say, look, maybe I'm not panicking yet, but I'm smart enough to be concerned if all of these people in the world are concerned too. You ever heard the saying, by the way, money talks and BS walks? I'll get trouble for saying that word or phrasing tonight. But anyway, money does talk, and the stock market has made clear it's not very pleased with this situation, and it is concerned. The stocks, after the speech by the president tonight, were not in active trading in America. But in Australia, they were. And you can see it plunged following the speech. It's been as much down as 5%. That's not a live look, by the way. But it has affected global stock markets, and we're probably in for another crazy day tomorrow, with the stocks perhaps getting even worse here. A lot of people are saying it's a great opportunity to buy, and it may be, because at one of these days, at one of these dips, it will stop. And that's when it's going to start going back up, and the people that bought at that time will be the ones that profit. But you got to make sure it's not going to keep going. And there's a lot of uncertainty right now, too. So just be careful before you take unsolicited advice, including mine, for that matter. Except that my advice is to be careful. That's good advice. There's been a ton of news about the coronavirus coverage today. We've talked about a lot of national news, but we want to tell you some stuff that's happening locally as well. St. Bernard's is offering free virtual care service through their app, the St. Bernard's Go app, for anybody experiencing coronavirus COVID-19 symptoms. The coupon code, which is right there on the screen, can be entered. It'll waive the $49 fee that's normally associated with that if it is indeed coronavirus symptoms that you're experiencing. If it's something else, you still got to pay for it, obviously. But if you are then referred to an urgent care visit, according to the press release that was sent out today, well, then you'll only have to pay for the urgent care visit. So patients can download the St. Bernard's Go app by searching for that term, St. Bernard's Go, through the App Store on iOS or the Google Play Store for Android devices. And again, it's just something else happening here locally to try to combat the spread of this pandemic. We may not know exactly how far into Arkansas it is, but we know it's here, at least according to a presumptive positive test today for a patient in Pine Bluff, the first Arkansan to test positive for the coronavirus. Now, it's a presumptive positive because it has to be sent to the CDC for confirmation. We said that before. But all accounts, it seems like, are that it is a positive test, and because of that, that patient is in isolation. They're in a hospital in Pine Bluff. According to the governor who announced it Wednesday morning, they have a history of out-of-state travel. Maybe that was a factor in it. We don't know. But it was announced that was the first case. And, of course, there have been cases in neighboring states, too. So it's not come as a surprise, according to state health officials. Another thing to mention in state news, the Democrat Gazette is going to go free. They actually already are for coronavirus coverage. There's a special link set up that you can click on when you get to their website. But if you're looking for news online and it's behind a paywall, obviously that's kind of counterintuitive when there's a public health emergency happening. And I think the governor said he was going to declare a public health emergency today. I'm not sure if the declaration came through or not, but nonetheless, it is an emergency that's happening. And so it's good news that they've put that online for free. Probably not a bad idea for others to consider that are behind a paywall, just for at least the coronavirus coverage. I think a lot of outlets are doing that nationwide. Thanks, everybody, for joining us tonight on NEA Report. We're just trying to keep the news out there flowing in a calm way. We're concerned, but we're not panicking. But we definitely want to be ready for something if it is to take place. It's not to say it will, and we will be glad to report that it didn't, hopefully, someday. But until that day happens where we're certain that we're there, we should all be careful and listen to the people in our community that are basically a lot smarter about medical stuff than we are. And that's what I'm trying to do. I am like all of you. I'm not trained in medicine. So I'm going to the doctors. I'm going to the experts, and I'm asking them and looking to them. And when they say be concerned, well, I'm probably going to do what they say, at least until we have reason otherwise. We appreciate all of you for joining us, liking, sharing. That helps us a ton. If all you do is click like because you think we did a decent enough job tonight, hey, it means a lot. Thank you. If you click share, it means a little more. If you click to subscribe or follow the page, we really like it. And if you become a supporter, we like you so much that we do special broadcasts every week just for supporters, Friday night, 7 o'clock, where we interview a local celebrity that's been in the media around here. Been a lot of those on the show lately, and we've got a great guest scheduled this Friday that we think you are going to love, probably going to surprise a few people. So we'll see you Friday night for supporters, 99 cents a month, and it makes local news possible. Thanks to our sponsor, Colby Brooks, with Century 21 Right Pace Real Estate. Buyfrombrooks.com. Let Colby Brooks handle all of your real estate needs. I'm Stan Morris reporting in Jonesboro. Now you're up to date from NEA Report.